Hi, my name is Pavel and I welcome you on my free masterclass. In this masterclass, we will speak about how to always find best moves. I will give you some rules and statements that will help you to always find best moves in your games. And I will give you some tips how to find them and tips how to increase your level of chess understanding in general. And actually, don't forget to press a button below the video to schedule a free training with me to improve your chess skills and work with me on chess. So, let's start. So let's start with this simple example. Here in this position, white has even two possibilities to win. The first one is to make a magnificent knight f5, and if black will take on g4 here, you just can checkmate in one by knight h6. And if black will avoid this and take the knight, you can take a queen and you will receive an extra queen and completely winning position. The same time you can just play knight c6, and if black will take on c6, you will follow with queen f4 with the idea of queen h6 and queen g7 checkmate. And after queen c3, you can play just rook c1 and you will follow queen h6, queen g7 checkmate. It's no defense for black. So, in this position, in the beginning, white had a nice combination by knight f5. So what I'm trying to say, that the first thing that you need to care about is tactics. If you will miss some trick that can bring you a point in a tournament sheet, or even you will lose some material after your opening combination, it will completely destroy the game for you. So the first thing is that you need to pay attention for the tactic. You need to learn basic tactical and principles, and of course solve lots of combinations. It's a lot of services where you can find puzzles and start to solve them, and by this way you will learn more about tactics and you will be always ready to find a tactical trick that will destroy your opponent. So let's go to the next example. Let's take a look around this position. As we can see, white has advantage in development. After, for example, castle, they're really complete with their development. Even the rook on a1 is playing because you can open the a file in one move. So, and they have a really powerful knight on e5. At the same time, we can see that those pieces are under the game, so they're not playing at all. And black king actually in the center, and he has some troubles with castling. So, compare all these factors. I mean, advantage in development, a really strong knight on e5 and black king position, and as well position of these pieces that are not in the game. White has a brilliant move to play bishop g6 right now, trying to force black to take on g6. If they will take on g6, we can see that white has a very strong attack. So king e7, the king in the center, and white will just destroy him. Bishop b4, c5, takes on c5. If black will take by knight, we can just play here, and take on b7 using this pin. So the king in the center, the rook d1 will follow next move, and we can see that this is a really weird position for black. And actually knight f7 as well is idea for white to win, to take more material. So it's completely winning for white. So black only move is to take on c5 by rook, check, here, and just after takes on b5, takes, so we actually connected our rook to the game, and we can just play a silent move, castle, and we can see that all our pieces are in the attack to the black king, and his position is destroyed and he is in the center, and soon he will receive a checkmate or black will lose material. And we can see that as well these pieces that we discussed in the beginning are still not in the game. So in the game, black didn't took on g6, they took on e5, but actually after took, rook c7, the idea is to defend the f7 pawn. White just played bishop a5, and we can see that black position is really dangerous, and actually white has a big advantage because here is a pin, so here they're attacking on f7, and actually white destroyed black just in several moves in the game. By this example, what actually exactly I wanted to say? I want to show you that to find tactical tricks, you also need to count strategical features of the position. And here we counted white strategical features. We decided that white has advantage, and by using this advantage, we find a combination that can completely destroy black. So you don't need to always only think about tactics. Of course, you need to count strategical features of the position, and like basic strategical features are development, so always better, the position of the kings, yes, pawn structure as well. So as we can see in the example, this pawn on h6 made g6 square really weak. So, and location of pieces. So we had a really powerful knight on e5 that is still here in the game and helped white to win. And of course, you need to count material. So the material in the beginning was equal, and white were ready to sacrifice it to win the game. So that's how you should look at the strategy. You always need to think about strategical things as well. So let's move forward. So next game we will see, it's a game between Vasily Smyslov, famous Soviet Grandmaster, and John Nunn, Grandmaster from England. We will skip an opening part because it's not interesting for us. They just played something out of the main lines. Actually, by the way, if you want to learn openings, you can check out my new video about Trompovsky attack on my channel, and you can take some private lessons with me, and we will build up your opening repertoire. So, and here is interesting way because Smyslov took on e5, his opponent took on e5, and actually we see that the center is defined right here, and Smyslov played rook e1. So it's a kind of a useful move that actually is getting white position better than it was. So rook is protecting e4 pawn, that is the main pawn in the center, and we have an f1 square empty right now, so we can replace the knight somewhere to e3 to maybe go to d5, or actually after some moves like b5 we have an f1 empty square for even our bishop. So it's a useful move that will help you in the future and actually getting, as I told, white position better than it was. So it's like a grandmaster understanding of the game. So he is always trying to make some good move that will make the position more solid and gives more opportunity in future for your pieces, and actually helping to replace pieces to the best positions. So one of the main rule, like for example, if you don't know what to do in the position totally, you need just define the worst piece in your position and find a way how to improve the position of your piece. It's really very important. So queen e8, just because Nan wanted to skip this pin, a4. So Smyslov wants to stop b5 treatment somewhere, and actually maybe he will push a5 somewhere, so we will see it in the game actually. A mini spoiler for you. Knight h5. Again, black wants to play g5 to take this bishop, or they want to play knight f4 to improve the knight position. And actually, for instance, they can somewhere go out with the king and try to push f5 even. Is quite risky because the queen is on the same line with the rook. And white are ready to the center fight, and their bishops will be really ready. So, but we will see how it's going in the game. Knight b3. So Smyslov decided to place the knight to b3 because he found a c5 square interesting to the knight, and he wants to improve his position. g5, bishop g3, rook d8, and here Smyslov played knight e2 because like this position of the queen is really dangerous. This guy can go somewhere with tempo, and that's why white moved knight to d2, and actually they have an treatment to h5, so they wants to ask this guy what he wants to do. And here I suppose Nan made a serious mistake, so he took on g3. Better was to play knight f4. The idea is that in this case it's not so good to take on f4, because for sure black will take by e pawn, because they want to open this bishop, they want to have e5 square for the knight, and they have a nice counterplay actually, just because this bishop is in the game right now. And as we can see, after takes he took on g3, and this bishop is really silly because he cut it off by his own pawns, and he is doing nothing. And as well, we can see a weak fills. These weak fills can be used by white knights. And actually, try not to make weak fills in your position, just because you can force your opponent to catch them. And if you see some weak positions, especially for the knights in the opponent position, you need to use them for yourself to make your position better. King h8, so we wanted to avoid this bishop because f7 pawn was under pin. So queen a2, Smyslov is not forcing because he has a time to define how to play. Queen e7 and knight f1. So now this bishop can't go with the treatment because queen is not on d1, and Smyslov wants to place knight to e3 because from this square he can move to f5 or d5, making some treatments, and he want to build up his play around these weak felds. And actually it's a very nice move, knight f1, because he's improving the position of the knight that was on d2, and on d2 actually he did nothing. So it's a good move, the best one in position. Queen f6, and right now we can see that queen is not controlling c5 square anymore, so knight c5 immediately, forcing to play bishop c8 because he needs to defend b7 pawn. Knight f3, following the strategy, knight e7, trying to keep these weak fields by the knight. Yeah, so not to let this knight to go for them. And here Smyslov made another good move. So as we had to discuss already, that you need to count position of the pieces, location of the kings, pawn structure, material advantage, or like material equality. Smyslov made a nice move a5. So it's a really grandmaster move because he's fixing this pawn structure, and this pawn on b7 is really weak because of the knight treatment. So, and it's hard to black to even think about b6 to let this knight away. So at the same time, he is underlining this b7 weakness, and he is getting this position for the knight more safe. Because it's hard to black to play b6. White will take to b6, and this a pawn will be loose. So this one, that's why it is a good move to fix the black pawn structure and to help this knight. So queen g6, g4. Again, a great move. So white wants to totally avoid some f5 moves. So black can't find an active play. They just need to stay on the place. And by this move, white can use f5 square as well, because they have two defenders of f5 square at the same time. So black played b6. Actually, it's very hard to play for black in this position. Yes, they are losing the material, they are losing the a pawn, but actually it's really hard to stay on the place because white can just improve their position by bringing all their pieces to the best places. So knight f4. f5, I'm sorry. A little tactical trick right now, because it's if they will take on c5, we will take on e7, and we can see that the pawn structure of black is completely destroyed. So it's not good to take on c5. They took on f5 by the knight. So g takes here, and finally we're taking on a6, getting an extra pawn. So white mission right now is to win because they have more material, and actually we can see the big difference in the position of these bishops. This guy is doing nothing because of his pawns cutting him off, and this guy is really powerful. He can be replaced to d5, yes, and he can create some attack to even an f7 pawn. So, and actually when we have queens on the board, we can say that different color of bishops increasing the level of attack. So white can switch on to the attack to the king because of the different colors of the bishops. So let's see how it was in the game. Rook a8 here. So rook here, bishop c4. So we can exchange one rook, and we are trying to make some treatments. Take, king g8, rook a6, here. Again, a nice move, bishop d5. White wants to cut any black counterplay on d file that even can be possible by playing bishop d5. It's a move of a Grandmaster because it shows the technique of getting material advantage to a win. So queen e7, queen h5, and we can see that this pawn is really very weak because white wants to have lots of treatments to that. So rook d6 played, Grandmaster none, and after here, he resigned just because this pawn is going to be a queen, and if black will stop this pawn, they will lose the pawn on f7. So I will show you an example like here, b5, here, here. White can just play it here. And after takes on f7, another queen here, and completely winning the position. So it was a nice game played by Grandmaster Vasily Smyslov. He actually did everything like strict to the logic, so he brought his pieces to the best positions, he always counted strategical features, and even he had a tactical trick knight f5, if you remember, in this position. Yeah, so because it's not good to take on c5 because they will take on e7. So he did everything good, he counted all strategical features as I told, and he won the game. It's a great example how to always make best moves in the chess game. So let's continue and move to the next example. This position appeared in my game against Grandmaster Kuzubov, and I played with a black color. So let's first of all define the position. We can see that the positions of the king are quite the same, and both sides has some troubles with the pawn structure. Black has e-pawn, that can be really in trouble, but right now it's defended by the bishop on d7, and actually white pawn on d4 is not good as well. At the same time, we can see that both sides has their pluses and minuses with the pieces positions, and material is equal right now. So position is around the equal, and both sides has their own chances. So what we can see, the key factors actually in the center are those two fields, I mean e4 and e5. If white will occupy this position on e5 by knight, and black can't destroy this knight just because right now if they will play here, I will just take, it will be clear better for white, and actually black need to build up a play around the e4 square as well. So I found that my knight on e7 is really not good that much because he even can't go to a standard square f5 in French defense, because we can see that this pawn structure is from French defense, and I played knight c8. My idea is to replace this guy to d6 to have a possibility to go to central square e4, the best position for this knight. So I found the way, I found the worst piece in my position and try to improve this piece. So rook e1 my opponent played, and here I played a tricky move a5. My idea is to avoid knight b4 because this knight controlling e5 square, and I don't want white to have a possibility to exchange him after knight e6, because after I will play knight e6 I can't go to e7 anymore after knight b4 to have after knight takes c6 knight takes c6. So that's why before playing knight e6 I need to play a5 to take this square under control. That was my strategical idea and why I pushed a5. So that was my logic. Again, I counted possibilities of my opponent. It's very important when you're playing the game to count his tactical and strategical possibilities and try to avoid this because chess is the game for two players. You're playing against your opponent. You always need to count him to find best moves. So my opponent played queen d1, knight e6 finally. Here, queen f8. I want to make some pressure on f line. So knight h4, knight e7, I need to protect a g6 pawn right here, and actually this knight can't go to e5 anymore, so I can go out from c6 with this knight. f4, rook c8. I want to bring my rook in the game to the open c file and make some pressure. He tried to exchange it immediately. Queen c8. The queen is done on f8, and I'm bringing to c file because here I can take c3 pawn under attack. Here, bishop a4. Right now I'm defending my e pawn by my queen, and I want to improve the position of my bishop and make a pin that is not that much comfortable for white. My opponent played queen b1, I played g5. And after he took, actually I took the g pawn in the game. Finally, I won the game, but I had a really strong move here, bishop c2, that and I could win immediately. Because after take here, king h1, in my calculations, I didn't find a simple move, bishop f2, and I have treatments to two pieces at the same time, and it's completely winning for black. So again, to play chess really good, you need to improve your calculation skills and don't miss such moves. To make this, you need to solve more puzzles and you need to train hard. And actually, if I will repeat it again, you will come to my website and book a free lesson. We will train with you and define your weak sides, and I will help you to improve your weak sides and become better in chess. So I had the possibility to win, and actually I won the game finally, and in the end it was a nice combination. I will show you that I had on the board. So here, after queen b6, I just played a tricky move, queen g2, and right now my opponent can't take on g2, and he resigned because I will take on d5 with the check, and at the same time, next move, I will take a queen on b6, and I have extra rook, and my position is really winning completely. So let's move forward. So let's define this position. As we can see that the material is equal. The pawn structure, yeah, white has double pawns, but actually it's a middle game, it's not that important. And the position of the pieces, we can see that white has a bishop and black has a knight, and actually if black will push c4 to lock this knight, this bishop, it will be hard to white to find some ways. And position of the kings, we can see that this king is completely under safe, and we have some questions to this king actually. And white showed these questions. They played f6 immediately. The idea is to unlock this king position, yeah? So to create a really strong attack. After took on f6, we can see that this king position is very weak, and actually it's a really very important key factor. Queen h6. White just wants to replace bishop to c2 with the final treatment of queen takes h7 with the checkmate. So here black played f5, but if they played, for instance, e4, white also can win here, taking by queen, trying to rescue f6 pawn, rook e1. Just after rook e8, white playing rook e3, bringing the rook to the game, to the attack, and they will destroy king position and have a winning attack. So they're winning the position. So it's the factor of king position. It's really very important. We define 4 important factors, and this factor in this game is really very important, and because of that, white are winning. So in the game, black played f5, and actually some little combinations. Take on f7. Right now, black can't take on f7 by the rook because black can take by the rook on f7 because white will continue with queen g5 with the treatment to the king and treatment to the rook at the same time, as we can see, winning. So as you know, as chess player says, tactic service for strategy, and actually here is it. So white has a slightly better position and they're winning, and this tactical trick serves to the general strategical features that we have in position. So they took by the queen on f7, and after rook d8 we can see that black can't take by rook because again queen g5, 2 treatments at the same time, and Actually, after this move, black's even losing knight, and this completely winning for white. So in the game, black played knight f4, and they resigned just after b3. As we can see, it's again impossible to take a rook on d8 because of queen g5, the same thing like in previous example, and actually this position is winning for white. So again, we counted strategical features, we defined the really important, we find the possibility to unlock the king position by f6, with white I mean f6, and after that we find a little combination that served to general white strategy to win. So it's a really interesting example, and white just found the best move f6 by counting all these features in the right order and find a way to unlock black king position. So as we saw, you need to count features of the position and evaluate the position in general by even 4 steps that we defined already to find best ways, best moves, to catch the logic how to find best moves. And in the last example of this masterclass, I want to show you how chess is the complicated game, really complicated game. So queens are left on the position, that is the endgame, and seems that it's impossible to create a checkmate attack. But actually, white played here rook d3 because they counted the features of the position. As we can see, this knight is really far away, and actually king position is really weak because of the powerful bishop on f6. And white's plan to play rook h3 following rook h6 and rook h8 mate. So if black will try to bring this knight to the game, actually it's really late here, and after king h7, white can just play bishop f3, and we can see that here is a pin, here the position of the king is dangerous, and actually white winning this position, really winning. So after rook d3, black played bishop d5, and actually we're catch the game by Vasily Smyslov. He played white here, so we had the one example from his games in this masterclass, and this is actually the second one because Smyslov actually was a really nice chess player, one of my favorite chess players. Rook h3, king h7, rook e1. White wants to bring this rook somehow from e5 or e3 to the game to make more treatments to the king. So that is a right move. Actually, black here played e5, but if they had something like rook c8, for instance, white just can play g4 here, g5 here, and the final combination with an actually nice checkmate in the end, I will show you here. So we connected this rook to the game. That's why we can create a checkmate, a nice checkmate in the actually endgame with help of this rook. So black played e5, tried to make something here, knight c4, takes, and actually right here black resigned just because after rook e4 we want to take a bishop, and if black will try to save this bishop, we have a small combination that serves for our positional features. Take on h6, take, and the checkmate. So the game is over. And actually it's a nice example of how chess is complicated, because even in that game it's possible to create a checkmate attack to the king. So in this masterclass we spoke about a strategy and about tactic that you need to count them both to find best moves. We defined 4 main factors to evaluate the position, and this evaluation will help you to find best way, find the best moves. And we actually even saw that chess is a complicated game, and you always need to count real features of the position. If you want to learn more about chess, and if you want to improve your chess skills, you definitely need to work more on chess. And work on chess with me. Just schedule a free call, free training call, and we will speak about chess. We will define your level of chess understanding and make a program for you to make you grow up in chess and increase numbers of your wins in chess. Learn chess with me, and we will achieve your goals in chess together. Have a nice day. My name is Pavel Martinov, and don't forget to subscribe to all my pages in social medias.